Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name, officialbunne_e, so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, we have Iyanla Fix My Life Season 7, Episode 2, entitled House of Chaos. This episode was pretty interesting. I give a recap of the entire episode with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review and discussion questions at the end. No need to dig around. All of the minute marks are in the comments. It's all coming up next. The premise of this episode starts with Christy. She writes into Iyanla seeking peace with her kids so she can spend more time with her new husband. But her children's behavior, she feels, is exhibiting her from enjoying that time with her new husband. The family comes in. It's Christy, her husband, the eldest son, and the two youngest children who actually still live in the household. Before they can get to a place of healing, Iyanla wants to learn more about the dynamics of the family. Iyanla, in her typical fashion, she enters the room, says hello to everyone with big smiles. How's everybody doing? And when she's asking that, it's kind of this, oh, hello, this murmur of hi back to her. It's quiet responses. And Iyanla just says flat out, why are we here? And Christy, the mother, says we have to micromanage young adults. You know, they do what they want to do. They say what they want to say. But, you know, I'm the mom, so I have to pick up everything. And Iyanla, with the laugh, says, well, that's pretty much every young adult and teenager, right? Placing emphasis that clearly there's something deeper going on than just that statement that she made, because probably every mother can connect on that's how they feel. And Christy explains that this neediness of her kids is just a little bit too extreme. She even gives an example of, you know, somebody even woke me up at 3 a.m. for a battery to the remote. And Demetrius explains that he doesn't think that the kids that are there, the young adults, have any plans on leaving the house, that they just feel that they're just there. And Christy says, you know, we can't do certain things as a couple because we're micromanaging them. And Iyanla says to Amber, okay, why are you here? What are your responses and thoughts after hearing your mother say those things? She says, well, you know, I can't complain about what my mom is saying because of the situation that I've put us in. And Iyanla is saying situation. What situation? You know, your family is using very vague words. Say what you mean. What do you mean situation? And Amber says, well, I'm 21 with the child and I have one on the way. And like my mother said, I still live with her. And the eldest son, Christian, kind of chimes in and they play a clip of his production saying that I'm afraid for my sister following the same footsteps as my mom, her having 7, 8 kids and not having a hold or control of them. And Iyanla says to Amber, what did your mom teach you about motherhood, being a woman, relationships, men? What did she teach you? And Amber says, you know, I learned from my mom, from her experiences, and all of those experiences are things that I don't want. She asked that same question to Christopher. What does he want out of this experience? And he says, well, I'm just here to do whatever. Giving this energy like he's just there. He's tired. He's ready to go home. And he's really just not into what's going on. And Christopher says in a production clip that his brother having this attitude of whatever and doing what he wants is scary to him. And Christian says, you know, I'm here to get past the hurt and the damage in this family. And Iyanla says, whoa. Okay, well, hold up. Everybody spoke and only Christian mentioned hurt and damage. Everybody's saying, you know, things here and there, but there's damage. Is there hurt and damage that needs to be healed and it needs to start their process? And they all either nod or they say yes. And Iyanla says, well, let's talk about the hurt and the damage. Christian goes on to mention that there's a part of my mom's life when she was dealing with Ever. And you know, she just left when I was about 12 years old. It was believed that she left to California for this big job opportunity, but I have no real explanation of what really happened. My mom being away damaged all of our relationships with her, and this is something yet to be addressed. And Iyanla says, do you know that you hurt your child, that they feel this way? And Christy says, yes, I I hurt my firstborn. I made a decision to leave, and we haven't addressed it. And Iyanla says, that's a problem. You're hurt speaking about micromanaging young adults and this teenager and the relationships, but you're here because you want to mend the relationship with your husband and you feel that there's something in the way in that. That's the healing that you're looking for, but you're not looking for the healing with your eldest son. Iyanla puts out some cards and flips them over. And the first card reads dishonest. And she asks, who needs this card? Who needs to feel it, heal it, speak it, address it? Who needs this? And immediately, Christy and Demetrius reach out their hand, and Iyanla specifies to give it to Christy. And the next card is sad. And without any further ado, Iyanla makes a direct eye contact with Amber because the sadness just reads all over her face and her body language. The next card is overwhelmed. And Christy and Demetrius, they take that card. The next one's disconnected. And Christian points to his mother. And Iyanla says, well, your son has assigned that one to you, so here you go. The next one is irresponsible. Iyanla hands that to Christy, abandonment. Kristen said, hey, we all need that one. So Iyanla says, well, I'll make some more additional copies, but all of you need this. And Iyanla wants them to start on some assignments because she notices something deeper is going on. And she says, you know what? You and me, Christy, we need to talk. Everyone, just give me your cards. Give me your cards. She takes everybody else's cards and she slaps them all in Christy's hand. Iyanla watches her as she observes all of these cards in her hands. And in a production soundbite, Iyanla says, when children grow up in a dysfunctional household, the unresolved issues of the mother will fall in the mother's lap, unfortunately. The household that she complains so much about that's chaotic are the effects of years of unresolved damage and hurt that she's created. She says, you know what? We got to talk mother to mother, woman to woman. Everybody else leaves the room so Christy and Iyanla can have a moment. She says, look, I got 3 kids by 3 different fathers. I understand. I was a mother of 3 by the age of 21. I'm elder to junior telling you we got a problem. You have 8 children. And you got to think, you have 8 children, and let's say that they have 2 kids each. You have the potential to break 24 people. And you're telling me you want to get clear with your husband? We got a problem. And Christy says, well, my only concern was that, I felt that we need to get this situation under control so we can be good parents and good grandparents. And Iyanla says, your 30-year-old husband can't parent your 21-year-old or your 19-year-old son. Iyanla speaks with Amber, and she wants to get more clarification from Amber. And she feels that her mom didn't teach her about relationships because she saw her mom in bad relationships when she was a kid all the way going up into her preteen years. She's sad, and she's been that way for a very long time. And Iyanla says, I had a kid at the age of 16, 19, and 21. I had 3 kids by the time I was 21. It's never too late to change things around. By 29, I was in college. 33, I was in law school. And 40 was when I finally grew up. What are your dreams? Amber says nursing. And Iyanla says, I do it. And she laughs. She said, it was something about you that said nursing and you're just nurturing. I knew it. I should have said that. I should have guessed that. And they share a little laugh. And Amber says, yeah, I did want to do that, but I just need to be here for my kids. And Iyanla directly pops up and looks her in the eyes and says, no. Be there for you, and you'll be the demonstration for your children. Don't give up on your life for them. You take them with you on your journey in living your dreams. While Iyanla is letting everyone work on their assignments, a member of the staff informs Iyanla that Christy has a secret she wants to share, but not on camera. Iyanla comes in and she says, whoa, what's going on? She sees that Christy is in tears. She sits down with her and wipes away her tears and says, you're here now. You can't choose what you will and will not do. We're here for this process. You need to be the demonstration of what would happen. You could reach thousands. What if God chose you to be here, to be the voice for so many people, because you might share the same story with people that can't let it out. You're so close to getting what you need to heal. So close your eyes. Give yourself permission to feel what is going on. How long have you been feeling this? And Christy says, for my entire lifetime. And Iyanla says, well, how old were you? When did this particular event happen? And Christy can't even speak. She's choked with fear and tears. And Iyanla says, if you can't speak it, write it down. What age did this start? And Christy writes down the number 12. And she says the pain, the hurt of being touched by strangers. And Iyanla notices that her body language and her voice, she's clenching her teeth and her voice is just goes super soft. And Iyanla says your voice was stolen. Your voice was taken away from you, but we got to get it back. Saying what happened gives you your voice. It lets you feel whatever that is. You have to own your experience, but don't run away from it. Running away from it is what you're used to doing. It's what you're allowing. You're feeling that if you express that you're abandoning whatever else is going on in your life. I'll ask you the same thing I asked your daughter. What did your mother teach you about how to be a woman, about motherhood, about relationships? And Christy says very softly, she taught me how to be loyal to people that you're with and to be the best mother, but I wasn't the best mother. And it's a pattern, and you could see the disgust and sadness and confusion all over her face. And she says, I ended up with my kid's father because I was running away from it all. And I felt at that time that he protected me. And Iyanla says, you can't beat yourself up about your past decision. This symbolizes, this group of Kleenexes here symbolizes your uncried tears from the age of 12 all the way now up until the age of 47. And now, elder to junior, me to you, I got to help you win. Iyanla has a production note and saying that I've got to talk to Demetrius because Christy's understanding and things that they're going through are running into the problems that are causing current issues with the husband and in the household. This is a problem. That's why there's chaos, because there's no clear boundary or role of what's going on. And Iyanla speaks with Demetrius and she says, what are you doing with this woman in this situation? And Demetrius says, I'm wanting to help and being a good husband. And she says, by doing what? He says, by being a good husband. And she emphasizes to him, she has 8 children who are broken and wounded. Does she respect your voice as a man? Because men don't like to feel inadequate. And a disrespectful woman makes a man feel inadequate. How many times a week do you feel like that? And Demetrius says, holding back tears, a lot, many times. And Iyanla says, you haven't learned to put your foot down. How does your wife control you? And Demetrius says, she controls me with her mouth. And Iyanla says, I'm sure when she says stuff to you, it's not this calm and it's not sweet like this, right? And they share a little laugh. And she says, how long are you going to let her dishonor and disrespect you? How long are you going to dishonor and disrespect yourself? And Iyanla gets them in her office, meaning Demetrius and Christy. And she says, you got some woman stuff to work on and you got some man stuff to work on. And Demetrius, what is your spiritual foundation? Do you have one? And he says no. And she says, the reason why I ask is that you have to be grounded in something bigger than yourself. She gives them both some books to read, and the booklets have activities in them. And she wants them to do the activities apart, because she explains that she doesn't want Christy to fall back into the same patterns with her husband. She doesn't even want them to be in the same room. She wants them to be apart at different locations. And she says, I want to know that, Christy, you can make a promise that whenever you feel weak or you feel like you need to speak to someone, call one of the coaches here of the staff so you can speak with them. She agrees and she leaves the room. And Dee says that he feels relieved. And Iyanla says, I know, because I can tell that probably later on, if you guys would have left together, she would have wailed on you while y'all were together, correct? And he kind of gives this nod like, So we go into the next day. And Iyanla speaks with Christy and wants her to express how she felt last night, being by herself and doing some of those assignments. And Christy says, it was a lot of crying, confusion and soul searching. I was just confused, and all I felt was just pain, just a lot. And Iyanla says, we have children while being young ourselves before we grow up as women. And the little girl in us runs our woman's life. And I don't think it's wise to share your story of violation with your children today. It needs to be another time. And Christy says, well, I don't want them to know at all. Iyanla expresses that it won't be today, but it might be important for you to share that at some point in time, because they might have a level of understanding for you and your experiences and things that are going on. But you're afraid of abandonment. You're feeling that way because you feel that your children will turn and feel some sort of way about you. But you have to hear their sides and ask them for forgiveness because they are your children. And you've got to find out how you can make things better now and not put emphasis on the past and beat yourself up on things of the past. But we've got to move forward, and you need to talk with your eldest son first. She gets Christian and Christy together, and she wants Christian to start with his, let me tell you how I feel when my mother left. Okay, so she gives him an opportunity. She wants him to fill in the rest. How did you feel when your mother left you? And Christian says, when my mother left me, a part of me was taken. It didn't make sense when I was a kid. I witnessed my mom being abused by my brother's dad, and I wanted to protect you, but you left and you broke my heart. And I still haven't healed from that. I cried wondering if you were ever going to come back. And Christy says, I'm so sorry for abandoning you. Please forgive me. What can I do to make things right? And Christian just says flat out, I don't know. And Iyanla says, Christian, you don't know until you allow yourself to weep and to be honest about your pain and weep to your mother in her bosom. And she guides Christy's hand to his face and says, look, comfort him, hug him. She tells her to just be there. And she tells her son that she loves him. And she says, just hold him in your bosom. And they laugh because Christy says, well, I don't have a bosom. I really don't have a bosom. And Iyanla said, that's okay if you're part of the itty bitty tata committee. It's okay. You have a bosom. What I mean is put him in the grasp of your love. So she holds her son for a while, and Iyanla instructs the camera crew to shut it down and them to just let them have a moment. And they have a nice lunch together. She apologizes to her firstborn, and they just take a minute and they even have lunch and they have their own moment. Now it's time for Amber and Christopher, who are still are still kind of quiet and haven't had their moment to really speak up. But when Iyanla walks into the room, she sees their body language. She sees Christopher with this look like he doesn't want to be there, and she jokes with him like, whoa, what kind of face is that? And it makes Christopher laugh, and she says, you mad? You tired? What's going on? And he's just like, I'm just tired. So Iyanla says to Christopher and Amber, what do you want to change before you leave here? And Amber says she wants everyone to just be at this understanding of the hurt and the problems we had and our broken relationships and just start fresh. And Christopher says, I don't want Amber's kids to go through what we did, to go through what we went through. And Iyanla's just like, you know what? I keep hearing from everybody, I've been through this. I've been through that. I've been with y'all for 2 days, and all I know about y'all is that at some point in time, your mom left and she wasn't there. And I need facts. I need some truth. And I don't know what y'all have been through. And Christopher says, well, anything you can think of that people go through in the ghetto, that was us. Anything that you can think of. And I don't blame my mom because, my dad used to beat her. Beat the brakes off of her. And she did what she could, and she was with my dad when he was selling crack, and Iyanla's eyes went up like he said, y'all was doing what? And he goes on to explain that, I don't judge my mama for what she did. And I don't, and Iyanla's just like, okay, wait, there's a difference between judging someone and holding them accountable. Everyone around you that was responsible for you has failed you. And she says the same thing to Amber. Everyone that could assist you and was around you and responsible for you failed you. And you're living with a broken heart. And Iyanla still feels like she's not getting the entire truth. She needs some truth to get to the beginning of the healing. And Iyanla, you could tell that she's just really just kind of uneasy about that. And she walks into the room where Christy is with her hand on her hip. And she says, you know what? I've been talking to you for 2 days. And I'm just now learning from your youngest child that you were with a man who was selling drugs. Like WTH. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. Please hear me. I'm not judging you. But there is a level of truth that isn't being told. And Iyanla gets Christy, Christian, Christopher in a room together. And Iyanla wants to talk to the mother, the oldest child, and the youngest. And Iyanla says to Christy, you were selling at one point, correct? And she's just like, no, my baby father was. And Christopher says, when he was selling drugs, Mama, you were with him in the car. Y'all was together. And Christy says, well, that's your interpretation, but I was in a relationship with him, but I never sold drugs. And Iyanla wants Christopher to repeat what he heard her say. And she said, you know what, Christopher, it doesn't matter what she said. What did you hear? And Christopher says, well, I hear basically she was an accomplice. And Iyanla turns and says, period. Like she's basically putting it out there like, you sugarcoating the situation, but you were with a man who was selling drugs, and that man was in your house selling drugs. She turns to Christian and said, well, what do you hear? And he says, well, I didn't, know that, what was going on. But if that's something that's true and something that was happening, that's just another disappointment in my eyes. And Iyanla holds up another card that reads jail and says to Christian, what do you know about this? And he says, well, I know that their father was in and out of jail. Iyanla says to Christopher, is this in the future? And he says, possibly. She holds up the drugs card. And she says to Christopher, is that part of your future? And he says, well, yeah, possibly. And Iyanla says to Christy, because at this point, she's in tears. And she says, I know we're not crying right now. Wipe your face, put your big girl panties on, because your children need you right now. You need to be strong in this moment. I know you've been through a lot. You got some pain, but listen to what your children are saying. You and the baby can't be crying at the same time right now. You have to get clear of what he needs. And she says, well, what are some of the things, Christy saying to Christopher, what are some of the things that drive you to get in trouble? What is it that I can do? And he says, well, I take some money, I be doing that, I take some money out of it. And, Iyanla's just doing this side like, oh, no, And he feels that he doesn't have any direction on what to do as a man. And Iyanla says, you know what? You don't have to know. Just take counsel of wise advice. And she turns to his eldest brother and she says, has your brother ever been in jail? He's like, no. In trouble? He's like, no. Has he been on drugs? He said, no. Is he self-sustaining himself? He's a good person? He said, yes. And Christopher's just like, but it's the after that. What I need is, she's like, no. You have to know the basics first, baby. You have to make sure that power is in your basics in order to make things happen. You have to go step by step. When the child has been abandoned, mother, and she's talking to Christy, they feel, this is the result. They feel like their life doesn't matter, that they don't even care. Christopher says, Mama, when you left and you didn't take me, that hurt me. I would have thought that, wow, I'm your baby. You would have taken me with you. And Christy says, I apologize, and I failed you as a mom. And Iyanla's just like, yes, be accountable. And Christopher says, you know what? I made some bad and stupid decisions as a teenager that weren't right, but I'm still the man of the house. And Iyanla and everybody else gets a good laugh, especially Iyanla. She's just giving that laugh like, I heard that. Like, I know that's right. And you saying you the man of the house. Okay. And they just share a laugh. And she's just like, well, I'm glad to at least see you smile because, the whole time you haven't smiled since you've been here. So at least we got a good laugh. Now it's time for the conversation dynamic between Christy and Demetrius. And Dee says, after studying his booklet, and Iyanla gives him that stage to say what he needs to say. And he says, you know what? I don't want to stay if we're not on the same page. I don't get taken seriously. And if we can't get on the same page and that's bad for me, then I have to leave. And Iyanla asks Christy to say what she's heard. And Christy says, I'm understanding that. He's saying we got to get on the same page. He doesn't feel like we're on the same page. He's not being taken seriously. And if not, he'll leave. And Iyanla's like, good. You heard him right. And Demetrius says that it feels relieving. And for the first time, it feels good to be heard. And Iyanla says your experiences wouldn't allow his gentle spirit, right? You want to hear from an alpha male, maybe from your past or something. And, and she's like, well, that's not the case. I had to wear the pants, not by choice. If I don't say something, then things won't get done. And Iyanla's just like, you know what? Maybe it's the way you speak to people, maybe that can confuse a purpose. For example, if he was responsible in paying the light bill, and the lights go off, get some candles. Don't beat them up about it. You have years and years of wounds, and we got to release the village grievances. So Iyanla was making a point that if that's somebody's responsibility, let them be responsible for it. And if they drop the ball, let them be responsible for dropping the ball. Don't feel like you have to control him and feel like you're wearing the pants. Let him be the man that he wants to be. So they get everybody together just for a sit down to talk about grievances and to express to each other how they feel. And Iyanla says that there's a way to do everything and there's a way to talk. So we all got to sit down as a village and talk. So as they're sitting down, Christopher, it's his chance to talk about his grievance with whomever. And he says to Demetrius, Christopher says to Demetrius, if you're going to be with my mom, you have to take your position as a man. And Iyanla says, well, there's a way to say your piece, but you can't tell him what to do. You can't be disrespectful. You can't talk to him man to man yet. You're not a man. And Christopher says, well, when it comes to my mama, I can tell him. And Iyanla's just like, whoa. We're going to shut this down. And she does the shut down across the neck with the crooked mouth. Like, we're going to shut this down, because Iyanla doesn't have it. She said, because you don't understand how respecting people and speaking your mind, we're going to shut this down. You don't even have the floor anymore because you're being disrespectful. So then she goes to Amber. And Amber says to her mom, my grievance with you is that you don't do the things like you used to do when it comes to authority. You kind of let certain people get away with too much. And Christy understands what she's saying. And she says, I hear you. I've given up that authority as a mom in exchange for friendship as a friend. And Iyanla says, good. It's a really good observation about yourself and taking the initiative to listen to what people are saying. And Demetrius says to Christopher, one thing I want you to understand. My grievance with you is that there's no respect to me or your mom, but we're here to help. And we're not trying to be in your way or to hinder you. And Chris is open and respectful and even repeats what he hears. And Iyanla says, you know what, Christopher, it may be difficult, but the fact that you listen to Demetrius and you're at least open to what he has to say is the beginning of learning how to be respectable. And Christy says to Christopher, you know, you're such a great person. I believe you're just so great, but you have to believe that you're great. Iyanla says to Christopher, you know, it's the beginning of your healing. You're so young. You know, you'll have that come to with yourself. But you have to believe that with yourself. You have to have those moments with yourself to understand that. And Christy says to Amber, you know, you don't use your voice. And when you do use your voice, you've built it up for so long. When it gets to that point, then you act out. And Amber understands that and says, yes, I need to use my voice more often. So when it is finally time to use my voice, I'm not acting out. And Demetrius says to Christian, since he's the eldest, all I want you to know is just please talk to me if you need me. And Iyanla says that's great because you're not trying to say, I'm the guy in charge, I'm this, I'm that. Just man to man, you put it very simple. If you need me, if we need to have certain conversations, just come to me. So it was just very great. So they're coming closer to a conclusion. And Iyanla has the time to tell them all of those cards that we mentioned in the beginning, the sadness and everything else. You all take your cards and you put them in the fire so we can destroy that and move forward. And they all get up and they place the cards into the fire. And she also holds up something new and saying, with that gone, now it's time to move forward. We have to have agreements with each other as a village. You have to have those agreements with each other. And that is accountability. And that's something that's really important for a family to start healing and moving forward and just not beating yourself up about the past. So she gives them the tools and they have their baskets with journals and all of the information that they need for counseling to move on in the future. They all stand up, they give each other hugs, and that is the end of the episode. Now I'll move on to my review and discussion questions. What I noticed, what was very interesting, there weren't any producer's notes at the end. There's usually production notes about the family afterwards, and it was nothing. It wasn't, oh, the family is going to counseling, oh, we communicated such and such, and she said her marriage is better. It was nothing. So that gives me an indication of my thoughts that there are things in this family that aren't being shared. There's still a lot of secrets. There's still a lot of stuff that wasn't brought to the forefront to help Iyanla move with the healing. But she can't help anyone with what they don't share. It seemed like everybody was kind of just holding back and just afraid to say something. Honestly, what I think it was that many people didn't want to speak truths in fear that it would either embarrass their mother or each other. So it just had me really confused because it seemed like there was a lot of loopholes in it. And I'm sure that the coaching staff, the psychology staff, Iyanla tried to dig that out and help them to get deeper, but they didn't want to share anything. And we saw that with the fact that the mother didn't even want to mention that her kids had been around someone that was selling drugs, that she was abused, that she was beaten. She never experienced that. She never said that from the beginning, pardon me. So it was just kind of like this, what did we get accomplished? The only thing that I thought that was accomplished with the family is that they communicated a little more. So it was quite odd. Amber is just so hurt. You can see it in her body language. You can see it in the way that she speaks. She's so empty, and you can tell that there's just a huge void with her. She lives with her mother. She sees her youngest sibling, but there's just not this connection. Amber and Christopher seem to have that connection with age because it seems that Amber, Christopher, and Christian don't have that bond because Christian is so further up in age. So maybe they just have that disconnect since they're so many years apart. But she looks like Amber looks like she's just hurt and lost. And that's just an area of concern. But what I hope for Amber is that she does pursue her passion and her dream for nursing, because that will give her what she wants. Like Iyanla said, placing that example of living her dreams, and her kids will see that she lived her dreams, and that's putting that foundation and platform for them. So I thought that was just great. Christopher seems to be very disconnected. He has a very strong, passionate essence about him, but unfortunately, I have this feeling that he's placing that energy into other things. He seems so smart, and he seems like he has a wonderful personality and humor, but are those energies being placed into the wrong things? For him to just willy-nilly just say, well, I steal money from time to time, like it's nothing, was just like, OMG, oh my goodness. Can there be a revelation of intervention with him to stop certain patterns? He seems just like he's just like, just get it over with. When she asked him about drugs, he didn't care. When she asked him about jail, he didn't care. And he said, oh, it's possible. It's something that might happen. And all the mother could do was just cry. So there's this helplessness with Christopher. Also, what's very interesting to me, there are 8 children, but we only had 3 of them there. It's very disappointing that not only are the other children not there, but any of the dads, any of the biological dads, they weren't there. I would have loved to know why. Why weren't they there? And if they weren't there, could they at least make a statement? I really hope that later on, this is something like a part 2 or something like that, to give them opportunity to speak and to speak their piece. Because if you looked at episode 1 with the Shay Johnson Bleep Your Process episode, Iyanla made it plain to the adults on there that unfortunately, the parent that stays gets all of the anger from the children, because you're physically there to experience those situations, the anger and the confusion and everything, while the parent that's away, sharing love that's away, gets put up on a pedestal when both are responsible. Both have to take responsibility, and the fathers need to take responsibility as well. So that's just really sparked my interest. Also, I think there's a lot of dishonesty with Christy. There's so much more that's so deep, and those days that they were there just weren't enough. The number one thing on my mind, you guys, that I needed clarification on was, where did Christy go? She left when Christian was 12, okay, and magically came back. Was she in jail? Was she on drugs? Did something happen to her? Was she in the hospital? Was she injured? And her injury was something she was embarrassed about? I'm making up guesses here because we don't know. She never said where she went. And it made me angry that Christy wasn't saying the truth. Where did you go? Oh, I left you, but I'm sorry. Where did you go? And Christian even said at the beginning of the episode, I still don't know where you went. And it just frustrated me that she never talked about that. It seems like she's just in deep denial about everything and wants to have this kumbaya energy when, like Iyanla said, there has to be some accountability. Unfortunately, this entire family is so broken. You can see it in their energy. You could just see it. When they got to the mansion at the very beginning, they all looked exhausted. They all looked like they had already had enough. Like, it was just so much emotional baggage that you could read on their faces. It was just draining, right? So I'm just disappointed that we didn't know where she went, why she left, and literally what happened. I feel that this family has tons of secrets that they're not letting out. And unfortunately, it's not allowing them to have true healing. And with dads being gone, with the other children not being there, with them not speaking all of their truths. It's really disturbing, and I hope that they come to some sort of moment to where they say that they need more help and they need more guidance, because I just have that feeling that it's going to get worse, because with Amber, she has another child on the way. And if she has those aspirations to be a nurse, are there going to be any developments in her following her passion? It seemed very empty. I really think that Iyanla's team and the production did what they could with the information that they were given, and they went with that. But if nobody's open and they're not saying anything, she can't break down that wall of what's going on. If you're not being honest, if you're still holding it in, what else is there to do? Let me know what you think. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Put your comments below. I really enjoyed the comments from the other videos and the other television shows as well. You guys, look at those playlists. Look at the most recent posts of other shows. Ready to Love, so much more. Our movies, everything that's on this channel. Check it out. Hope that you guys stay safe. Stay tuned for more this week. And let me know what you think. Write your comments. Be honest. Respect one another in the comments. We all have the right to say what we want to say, but be respectable. Please like this video. In the meantime, take care. Be precautious about COVID-19, but don't be fearful. Everybody be careful. I love you all. Until next time, bye.